Okay, so do you know when you're single? I feel like it takes a little while to adapt to that. Like, if you've come from being in a relationship, especially like as I was saying last week, I've been a relationship gal my whole life, yeah. When you've been in a relationship and then you're suddenly single, it takes a while to really adapt to being alone and to doing things alone. And eventually you do become independent. And I think eventually most people enjoy doing the things by themselves. But now I'm in a relationship again, I really don't want to lose that independence. Like when you're in a relationship, it's so easy to just become intertwined, like, and adapt to their schedule. And, couples end up liking the same things. Or, you always get that one couple where the boyfriend suddenly wants to give up drinking, or the boyfriend's suddenly in the gym, and then the girlfriend's doing the same, which, okay, that's a healthy thing. But, it can also be suddenly where the boyfriend loves heavy metal, and then all of a sudden the girlfriend's listening to heavy metal. And it's not a bad thing, like it naturally happens, but I think sometimes it's very easy to kind of lose yourself if you're in a relationship. Honestly, it shouldn't be that way, and I do think like the right partner wouldn't have that effect on you, really. But it's easily done, especially when you're living with each other. Like you say, you get on the same schedule, you end up like watching the same type of things on TV together, and obviously you've got the same interests anyway, yeah, because you're dating and stuff. Anyway, now that I'm in a relationship again, I really do not want to lose my independence. Like, it took me a long time to get used to doing shit by myself, and I want to continue doing that. So you might have seen this on Instagram, but every Friday I've decided to do something just for myself. Now, I ideally want this to be when I'm alone. So the first week, last week, I went to the cinema by myself, and I didn't just go to the cinema, like I went to the bougie one. I paid £4.50 for a tin of fizzy sweets, and honestly, I didn't finish them all in the cinema. I brought them home, I opened the thing, there were two types of sweets in it. A fizzy cola bottle and something else fizzy. £4.50, absolute mug. However, the point was, right, that I was going to treat myself. I got an Uber to the cinema rather than walking. Got myself a little Diet Coke in a glass bottle. Ooh, fizzed it over. Delightful. I was really loving my life. No embarrassment at all, by the way. When I never went to the cinema by myself until I broke up from my last relationship. I never used to do that. So now to be able to go and have no embarrassment. I watched The Housemaid actually, which was amazing. I loved it. I'll come back to that. So yeah, that was my first one that I did alone. This week, obviously, because I'm in Sophie's, we are going to do dinner. Just me and the girls. We're going to have a little early dinner. Because I do think, guys, in January, I don't know if I've said this yet, but in January, right, it's so dark and miserable, and if you're an OG listener, that it absolutely drains and kills my soul. Yeah, I absolutely normally despise January and winter, and I've actually been fearful of this one. Like, last summer, I was like, I'm frightened of winter. I have decided to lean into it now. So when it starts going dark at 4 or 5 o'clock, I'm getting ready to bed down. I'm not trying to wake up early. I'm literally waking up at about 10 to 8 on average, unless I have to leave to go in the office or whatever. I'm waking up when I want to wake up. I'm not forcing myself to the gym early or anything. I'm not forcing myself out at 7, 8 o'clock because I don't want to. When it's dark and cold outside, I don't want to. And I'm leaning into it this January, and I know we're only a couple of weeks in, but it feels a lot better. So anyway, major segue. The point was we're going for an early dinner at 5 p.m. Literally got a 5:30 p.m. dinner booking, which is crazy. But wherever. So this week is my little dinner date with the girls. And yeah, I need ideas. Some weeks might just be simple. It might literally just be going for a walk, get myself a matcha. That'll probably be happening as well. But I do need some ideas for nice solo dates. So please comment or let me know if you have any suggestions. I am also going to put this as an Instagram question because I do really need some inspo, because next week, literally all I can think about is a walk and a matcha. But I'd like to do something. I think that's just important to just carve some time out for yourself, even when you're in a relationship. And it doesn't even have to be when the other person's working or anything. I think it's almost important to just keep to that slot if you can. Obviously, like, sometimes like shit happens, but to try and keep to that slot and be like, this is my Friday, like this is my Friday to do my thing. So yes, that feels quite nice. Housemaid, I hadn't read the book, so I didn't know the story. This is going to be spoilers though, so if you don't want to find out what happened, then skip forward a couple of minutes. So I didn't know the story, however, I could tell instantly that the guy was bad. As soon as I saw the girl was crazy, I was like, that bitch is only crazy because that man's an arsehole. There's no way a girl is being that crazy over her own accord. 100% I knew straight away. I was like, this guy that's swooning round in his wife beater vest, looking hot and rugged and like the perfect husband. I saw right through him. Love Amanda Seyfried though. Hopefully I've said her surname right. I do like Sydney Sweeney acting. Obviously she's been, I don't think she said she's like a MAGA Trump supporter, but obviously that's been like suggested, so we don't know about her, but I do love her acting. And yeah, cast was good, storyline was good. I do want to read the books. There's 3 books apparently for Housemaid, so I might start reading those. However, I have started reading Verity, which is by the same author. I've literally only read 8 pages. Reading for me, I'm really trying, like, for me to read a book in my life is like integrating a new lifestyle. For me to carve out the time to read a book, I'm finding it really hard. So anyway, set up a little book club. Me and 2 of my friends, we've set up a book club. So we have to finish it by the end of the month. So that's like kind of motivating me. Like I know I've only got 2 weeks left to read this book. So yeah, that's a cute little activity to do as well with the girls. But I watched It Ends With Us and I didn't love that, if I'm honest. I knew, well, it's kind of obvious anyway, like what happens in that. I think just honestly as well, the whole press at the time, remember like, what's her name? I want to call her Serena van der Woodson. Blake Lively. Like Blake Lively and the other guy, they were in like a massive beef, remember? Like the whole time. Then I think when I was watching it, just kind of like, it just kind of put me off the film. But I know the book is meant to be really good, isn't it? So I'm also trying to get my reading era. You can tell that this episode's a January episode, can't you? I'm like, solo dates, reading club, independent queen, leaning into winter. Like, I'm really trying to keep these good habits up for January. Anyway, welcome. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll notice a little bit of a different background. Got this pink mic, feel like a news reporter. Looked like a good idea at the time. Not sure how I feel about it now, but it feels pretty professional, but it feels like I'm a news reporter / journalist. But anyway, I am recording in Sophie's this week. I'm staying with her for a few days, and I have to once again stress that you shouldn't give up sleepovers in your 30s. I don't know what happens as adults where we suddenly have our own homes and we think that sleepovers should stop. Sleepovers with the girls are the best. And also, like, it's not like we are 2 single gals. Like, Sophie literally lives with her partner. So there's really no excuses, even if you've both got partners or only one of you have. Like, send the men in the other room. Send them off with, like, a beer and a football game or something. Just, like, turn a little TV on somewhere for them and just send them away for a few hours. Tell them to have a kickabout in the park and give them 11 p.m. curfew. Like, they'll be just fine. To be fair, it is a bit different here because I also lived with Sophie's partner, or I should say he lived with us, which, like, God bless him, living with 3 unhinged girls in their 20s. Like, it was me, Sophie and Renee lived together already, and then obviously Sophie met Claudio, and then he moved in with us. Chaotic times, but that does add like a level of comfort as well, obviously, because we were pretty much flatmates before. But still, I'm very big preacher of sleepovers in your 30s. Right, let's go into this week's story. I dated a woman for over a year and we were each other's best friends. We completely understand each other and we are still madly in love with each other, but it was best for us to break up because we weren't in the same place. She's 29 and wants to be married and have kids soon, and I'm 31 and wanted to date her for a while and get married and have kids around age 35. It was mutual and we both knew it was best for us, so we decided one day to break up. That is a bit mad to me because 29 to 35 is only 6 years, but I kind of love her for not for not giving that goal up, and basically for like giving a person up because she knows she wanted kids soon. Because there is also a risk of like waiting and then something different happening in your life, and then you not maybe be able to go through with your plan. So I kind of think that's amazing, but also it's a catch-22 that, because you're losing somebody important to you for a child and a life that you haven't yet got. Okay, she says, on the last day of our relationship, I decided to take her out on one last date night. We spent the entire date thinking back and talking about our favourite times together. No, I'm sorry, I can't. That is so sad. Things we'll miss about each other, how we've affected each other's life in so many good ways. I bought her flowers. She's probably like, where was this when we were together, you arsehole? No, it sounds mutual. I bought her flowers, took her to a nice romantic restaurant with live music, and then we went to see a show, through all of which we held hands. It was one of the most perfect, romantic, happy, and yet heartbreaking dates we ever had. That is too much. Oh my God. Do you know what? It's so lovely, and how nice to end in such a lovely, mutual way, but also heartbreaking. Like, sometimes it's almost easier to break up with somebody when you hate them, I think. Like, when you break up with somebody and you've still, well, obviously you've still got feelings mostly anyway when you break up with them, but like when you actually still love them and still get on, I think that's even more heartbreaking. Like, I went through a breakup before, and we didn't do like a final date like this, but we went to Winter Wonderland together just because we were still living together when we broke up. And rather than just like be in the flat and be in different rooms, we literally were like, well, should we go out? We went to Winter Wonderland, we ate dinner together, we watched TV, and it was like, it's really weird. But you know what? Sometimes I also think, if you're going to break up with somebody, and there's obviously like a lot of tension, and it's like almost like a pressure cooker, waiting to just pop. Sometimes when you then break up and you have everything out, and you've had like maybe the argument or the discussion, and like everything's out in the open, sometimes it then makes it easier to get on with that person, because then you're like, well, we've broken up. You're not holding any animosity towards them. You know what's going to happen. It's sad. And obviously it depends like what the person's done to you and stuff. Like if they've really hurt you or you hurt each other, obviously it's a bit different. But sometimes if it's like that, there's no point making the breakup more difficult for you both. Do you know what I mean? Like at the time I was like, I would rather just sit here, have TV, like watch TV, have dinner with you and make it nice, than be crammed up in a room by myself, like thinking about why we're breaking up and just being sad. Like sometimes it's just not worth it. But to actually go out and have like a date, like if my ex bought me flowers after we'd broken up but we were going out, no, I don't want your flowers. I don't want any gifts off you. Just your presence is okay, and a nice amicable atmosphere. I don't need the flowers. That would just make me a little bit awkward, I think. He says, at the end of the night, we said our goodbyes and we hugged and kissed for one last time and went our separate ways. Oh my God, there's nothing worse. It was the hardest thing I've had to do to this date, but I wouldn't want it to end any other way. It was as perfect as a heartbreak could be. That is lovely. It is lovely, and I love the maturity. Like, there's literally nothing worse than going through a breakup, especially when you do it in person and then you have to leave. It's such a weird thing there, because you've been through so much with that person. You're so like close to them. You literally know everything about them. And then you've just got to hug and become strangers. Oh, it's actually so traumatizing. Like, how do we go through it over and over again, like multiple times in our lives? Like, it's actually insane. I remember saying like a goodbye to a boyfriend before at the train station, like on a public platform in like Earl's Court or something, just like having a hug and then walking away. It's cinematic, but I do think breakups in a public place, you can, better than in the house. If you're in the home and you've got to leave, actually this is like an early breakup. I think it was like my second boyfriend, so I was still quite young. Now when you break up with somebody and you're just over it, there's like a few types of breakups in there, and there's definitely one of them where you've broken up with them in your head, and by the time it actually comes to telling them, you're done. And this was me. I had tried to break up with this man for at least a year. Every time it was a pushback, I would like gaslight myself into thinking it would be okay. So by the time that it came to the end, I was done. I probably said the story. We actually went to the gym together. I got in the car and I was like, I cannot do this anymore. Like, you reach boiling point, you're like, I actually cannot. Anyway, when we actually, like, obviously had the conversation stuff, this is going to sound harsh, yeah, but I just wanted to leave. I'd said my piece. We had been there about 2 hours at this point. I just wanted to go home. Like, I was practically, like, I was exhausted, you know, I literally just needed to leave. The man started emptying photographs of us, stuff of mine to hand to me. I was like, I can deal with this at any time. Like, I don't need this now. I had to have all the framed pictures of us back to do war with. And then after all of that, he said to me, because he didn't drive, do you mind taking me into town? And then I had to get him back in the car and I had to drive into the city centre with him and drop him off to his friends. Oh my God, traumatic. By the time he got out, I was like, thank the Lord. I actually think that was probably the only boyfriend where, you know, like always, I think after you break up with somebody, they always message for some kind of closure session. That was the only one I didn't do it with. I was like, I actually, the 3-hour session that we had was more than enough for me, and let it be enough for you. Please come and share your breakup stories with me. Maybe I'll ask that on as an Instagram question as well this week. Come and share your breakup stories, your love stories. Send me a DM at Sadie Maltby or at loveoutlack, or you can send me an email, sadie@loveoutlack.com. I am very interested to know people's breakup stories, actually, because there's so many different ways you can do it. Like, all of mine have been different, and they just never pleasant, are they? They are never pleasant. Guys, I'm coming in with a hot take today. I think it takes 2 years to get over something. To get over something or to get into something and really settled into it, I think the 2-year mark is the sweet spot. Like, if you go through something like a breakup, or even if you start a new job, I feel like it takes, honestly, 2 years to fully feel yourself in your new scenario. Like, it takes a little while to adapt in a new situation, whether that's being single or whether that's a new job. Like, I literally remember my most recent job on the first day. I was literally like walking around Tesco on my lunch break in tears. I came home and I cried and I was like, this just isn't going to work out. I just think sometimes we expect to be thrust in these new scenarios, like recently single after being in an 8-year relationship, and we just expect ourselves to be normal again after like a few months. And no, I actually spoke to Amelia about this before, and she said that it took her 2 years until she felt normal again after a breakup. And I remember at the time being like, that is horrendous, 2 years. But actually, it's my hot take of 2026. It takes 2 years to get into something and settled into it. Like, even, you know, if you've started a new relationship, it takes 2 years to really get to know them, to like get under that level. You know, you have the lust phase, like when you just basically have sex all the time and you just absolutely love this person and there's not a thing that they could do wrong, especially when you're a girl in a new relationship. I'm sure there's like studies over that or something where you see a guy and you're just like, I think I've spoken about it before. Apparently women, when we go into a relationship with a guy we like, they already start on like level 10 of this is, you know, he's perfect. Whereas a guy builds from 0 up, which for once we should like actually take a leaf out of their book. But yeah, it kind of takes 2 years to get into it and then like really know a person and get to that like deeper level of love. Do you know what? I don't know why I was thinking about this. It's very rogue of me, but I remember the exact moment that I fell in love. Like, I actually remember the moment, the time of day and the feeling. Like, I literally just remember the whole thing. The sunlight was coming through the window. It was a sunny day outside in the Rhondda Valleys. I was lying at the bottom of the bed on the floor with my boyfriend, not sure why, and we were like looking into each other's eyes, and I actually just remember the feeling. I was like, this is actually like a physical feeling of falling in love. And I was like, honestly, what I was thinking this week, I was like, that's what makes everybody crazy. It's just that insane feeling. Like if I could bottle that up and sell it, I would be a millionaire. Although, is that probably what drug dealers are doing? Maybe. Is that what drugs do to you? Who knows? But Yeah, what a feeling, guys. Right, I also have a few pop culture moments to talk to you about this week. Firstly, can we talk about Timothée Chalamet and Kylie Jenner in the Golden Globes? Or honestly, anyway, I have become such a fan of their relationship, and there's not many celebrity relationships left for us now that either don't break up or become tarnished. And they are going strong for me. I absolutely love them. Firstly, Kylie Jenner. Kylie Jenner is so hot. Every time I see her, I immediately just want huge tits. There's no way around it. Every time I see her, I just want humongous tits on my body. Like, she just makes them look so good. So she's just hot and like fun and carefree. And they're just so cute together. And you know what? I just love a man that loves loudly. When they are like, this is my partner and she's amazing and this is why she's amazing. And it's just at the perfect level. It doesn't come across as false. The PDA isn't too much. It's very normal, really. But he's just not afraid to say how he feels. Like, this is my woman and she's hot and she's lovely and I love her. And I love that because there's nothing worse than a guy making jokes at like the expense of his partner or, like making out like they're ball and chain. Oh, that's my pet hate. When a guy is like moaning about his girlfriend or like, oh yeah, well, giving like the eye roll like as a joke. Oh, she'll probably have it or she'll probably be late or, a bit of that. And I get it, sometimes it's banter, yeah, and it's funny. But sometimes I'm just like, praise the woman. It's actually more embarrassing to be with a woman and then moaning about her because if she's that bad to be with, then break up with her, you coward. It's like you're so insecure you can't admit you love your partner. It's just not for me. Anyway, the second one, not so fun, Hugh Jackman. I didn't know much about Hugh Jackman, right, until it was COVID time. I was walking up the mountain, classic Wales era, and I was listening to Oprah Winfrey podcast, right? I don't know, I think it was called like Soul Searching or something. And Hugh Jackman was on there and he was talking about his wife Debs. And I was like, oh my God, Hugh Jackman, what a delight. They've been married like 20 years or something. And he just loved her. Like, same thing, loving loudly, yeah? I just lap it all up. Come on TikTok to see a Sun exclusive. He's got a new girlfriend he's splashing about in the ocean with. Apparently, she was married as well, and they were on a play together. He's basically his character in The Greatest Showman. Like when he's on stage with that other woman and then they have the affair. It's basically what's happened to him in real life. So Debs is gone, says how awful betrayal is. They obviously had the affair, and now they're together, splashing about in the ocean. That was a real shock to my system. And lastly, for my pop culture relationship moment, Christy, Sarah and Desmond. So I actually don't follow these, but they like TikTokers. You must have seen them because their content's been everywhere. They're basically TikTokers, but they like funny ones. So they always do a couple of things, but like she basically takes the piss. So she usually like tries on shows and she like jumps about in them. But they obviously come like as a couple. And they've been together since they were like 14 or something, literally childhood sweethearts, and they got divorced, which was, a shock to lots of people. But they got divorced because she said that he cheated, and then he did a statement saying that basically he apparently wanted to leave the relationship, and then after he had that conversation, I don't think like she wanted to divorce or whatever, and then he made some decisions he wasn't happy about. When you hear that, right, to be fair, you think, well, he did try and end the relationship. Maybe they were kind of broken up, just not divorced. And he had like a one-night stand or something. That's what I was thinking. Giving him the benefit of the doubt, which, what a joke that makes me, because I should have known better with him being a man. TMZ exclusive last night is necking is the only word for it. He's got this girl all over him, on his lap, kissing him. Firstly, your dad, your father, this is on the internet, so your children are going to see this one day. And who kisses like that in public? I swear you'd be thrown out if you kissed like that in public. Like, it's not good. Nobody wants to see you, like, on top of another man with your tongues down each other's throats as you're trying to have dinner on a Saturday night. I'm a bit funny with PDA anyway. I like it, but it has to be like a normalised level. I don't want to see two people necking, I've realised is what I call it, which feels like such a Welsh thing to say, but that is what I call it. But yeah, like necking or snogging. He's with somebody else already. So disrespectful. Although she did do an Instagram post of her in the house, like on the kitchen, saying same address, meaning like she's going to keep the house and she can obviously afford to run it. And I loved her for that, because she was the star of the show for the TikToks. Although, guys, it is a reminder to us, as I've said before, don't compare yourself to couples online or like glorify couples online, because people only post what they want to post and you've just got no idea what happens like as soon as they stop that record button. And I even get caught up in it as well sometimes, like if I'm on my TikTok doom stroll and I see like this amazing boyfriend doing something for their girlfriend, sometimes I'm like, shit, like should my boyfriend be doing that? And you can really like question things. And then when you hear this stuff come out and everyone's like, oh my God, they seem so happy and whatever, you just never know. So I feel like that's a good reminder for us. Okay, and to end, I have to share this, right? This is a message that a girl shared from her husband-to-be. Her husband-to-be sent her this message. I can't walk down the aisle anymore. I'm sorry. I love you, but I love her more. Sorry, I'd be deceased. Love her? Who the fuck's her? We're getting married. The audacity. Everybody saw me walk out of the church. So he's basically sent this at the altar. He sent this on the day of the wedding. Imagine you're getting ready to get married and you're literally in your dress, all your family there, and your husband-to-be texts you this. Everyone saw me walk out of the church, so I thought I'd spare you the embarrassment of opening the door and not seeing me and all the guests seeing your reaction. It's better to just Irish goodbye, you feel me? I can't deal with the casual tone of this man. I hope we can laugh about this someday, my love. I love you so much, and I'll see you on your due date, meaning she was pregnant. I know this will probably be a lot for you, so I already went ahead and contacted our family lawyer to sort out custody agreements. I'll make this as easy as possible for us. There'd be no control of me after that. How can you send a message like that to somebody on the day of the wedding? And for me, the worst part is, you feel me. Firstly, no grammar in there. Short, casual text. And I hope we can laugh about this someday, my love. Well, you didn't have a second before the actual wedding day when you're on the altar. You couldn't find a second in your day before then to let me know. Do you remember ages ago, literally years ago, there was a story that I shared about a girl, she was actually Welsh, and her husband-to-be basically like ghosted her on the wedding day and did like a runner, and she still had the wedding party with everybody. I think that was the best thing you can do, because you've paid for it and all your people are there. Send all his family and friends home and have the party, but wow, the audacity of people. Okay guys, well I'm going to wrap it up there. As always, let me know your feedback or any stories. You can send me a DM. I'm at Sadie Maltby at love.luck, or you can email me sadie@love.luck.com. And also please remember to subscribe and follow on Spotify if you're watching on there. Thank you so much, and I'll speak to you next week.